Hi, Dave Miller, second-year fellow at the NIH. So when I created these slides, I didn't think I had to talk over this first one, so instead I'm just going to invite everyone who's continuing on next year to join the Big Data Affinity Group. We're 100 members strong, and the listserv is open to anyone. So visualizations of data have the potential to be very powerful tools. Colors, lines, and numbers conveying a message like the tragedy of US gun deaths, or a map of the internet as IP addresses, a fractal network of countries, companies, and communities. I started my fellowship thinking that this was going to be the primary direction that I would be taking at my agency, the National Institutes of Health. However, the legislative branch decided differently, and my planned trip to the InfoViz conference 2013 was canceled. The shutdown did give me time to ponder, though. Dataviz is certainly an interest of mine, but it's not really a passion of mine, and we're told to follow our passions. So you might like to ride your bicycle, you might like to draw, maybe you like turtles. I like video games. So I have hundreds of hours in Dark Souls. I have 1,034 hours in a tiny little flash game called The Binding of Isaac, a grotesque but deeply complex game. And my daughter and I have several dozen hours in Metamorphobet, a delightful little game that you should all put on your iPhones right now because it's amazing. So what to do with this passion? It turns out, just ask. I suggested that instead of a Dataviz conference, perhaps there might be talent, technology, and innovation to be found at the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco. And I'm fortunate to have a mentor who is usually on board with such outlandish ideas. So 6 months into my fellowship, I was able to attend. Now, games and science. It's always possible to inject a bit of science. I was very proud of getting retrovirus in AlphaBear here. That was a big deal. That's a lot of points. So you can always, put some into a typical game. But in 2011, players of the protein folding game Fold It took only 10 days to solve the 3D structure of an enzyme that had stumped traditional computational methods for 15 years. So how to think about this? At the NIH, we held a think tank, for lack of a better word, that brought together game developers and biomedical scientists for 2 days to discuss and explore how technology and approaches from the game development community could be applied to challenging problems in the biomedical fields. New collaborations started, and we gained a list of recommendations for how to further support the intersection of games and science communities. So after GDC, with some encouragement from Lauren Milner, I mocked up a skeleton of a funding opportunity to support research games and then set it aside with no way to fund it, but at least it was there and ready. A few months later, an opportunity did finally arise, though, at NIH to support, to direct some agency funds toward the concept. So the announcement language, some compromises had to be changed from games to interactive digital media. And the scope of the work had to be changed a little bit. But in the end, we were successful. And a little idea that I cooked up at a video games conference led to $5 million being budgeted toward an innovative grant solicitation spanning the communities of crowdsourcing, citizen science, video games, and the biomedical research communities. So the response from the research community has been tremendous, and awards will be made next spring, after peer review this fall. So I'm not going to repeat the trope of pursuing your passions, but I will say that there is probably a way right now to take whatever your passion is and inject it into whatever you're doing. Thank you.